Hello and welcome back to my humble show. Hope you're having a great day, everybody. I'm your host for today and every other day, the Articulate Thinker. Hopefully, here to bring you art, articles, and articulation straight from Articulation Station. So be sure to like, subscribe, and enjoy the ride. Don't forget to turn on those bell notifications while you're at it. I'm not even going to ring it. I only have a few minutes, so I'm going to try to break this down as fast as possible. Mitch McConnell. He recently had a brain freeze while at a press conference. He was answering questions and he froze up. It has happened again. Yes, a few weeks later it has happened again. And it is a bad look for him. It is no surprise at his age. Also, I believe he had a fall not too long ago, which may have affected his physical and mental capabilities just a bit. But here's a headline for you from the New York Times. McConnell freezes up a second time while addressing reporters. The episode, which took place in the Republican leader's home state of Kentucky, intensified questions about his future in the Senate. In fact, he was being asked about whether or not he would run for re-election immediately before he froze up. I don't want to call it ironic. I'm not going to call it funny. It's not funny. So for the people making memes about it, I mean, do your thing, but it is sad. The only sense in which I will not be shedding a tear for him is the sense in which he is asking for precisely what he is getting. Well, nobody's asking to freeze up. Nobody's asking to fall in the first place. But at this age, at this stage of his life and his career, what else could he be doing in such a position other than pursuing power? I mean, it is a position of power. Just think, anyone at 80 years old should be resting and relaxing. A bit of R&R. You'd think. I mean, take a look around you, wherever you work, if you work, as I do. Not here, but, you know, not far from here. You know anyone who is 80 years old and still working? Sometimes that happens. Sometimes volunteering happens. But this is not a position of volunteering. It is a position of politics. And it is a prime position for physical and cognitive capabilities, especially cognitive. I know the two things don't always have to line up completely. You could have someone with a disability physically and still be very, very cognitively capable. In this case, though, when age is such a factor, I think we need some sort of standard, don't you? It can't always come down to age, since there are some dumb young people and some dumb old people as well. It all just depends. But I feel like there should be some standard of health. Right? Is that fair to ask? Whether we are talking about Senate, House, White House? You tell me. What should it be? So before I read through this article, let me play this clip for you of him freezing up as of today. Caption reads from Colin Rugg. Breaking. Republican Senator Mitch McConnell appears to have another medical emergency when he froze up for nearly 30 seconds while speaking to reporters. I speak for almost every American. Yeah, he says most Americans, and I would agree. When I say it's time for McConnell to resign, keep in mind that a lot of Republicans don't like Mitch McConnell all that much to begin with, though he has been winning elections regardless, so take it or leave it. Just last month, McConnell had a separate freezing episode where he went completely mute while giving a press conference. We deserve better, America. I'll read a few comments below the clip, but first the clip. Bear with him.
What?
Running for re-election in 2026.
And in case you didn't hear the question, let me play this one more time. The volume is up all the way, but it's still not that loud.
What?
Running for re-election in 2026.
Did you hear the question, Senator? Running for re-election in 2026?
Spaced
All right,
out.
I'm sorry, you all. We're going to need a minute.
Out in space.
Senator. Penny.
I just walked in to find you here with that sad look upon your face. He is not with it. He is not with us. And I don't mean to mock him, but like I said, he could just resign.
Okay.
Somebody else have a question? Please speak up.
Interesting. She said, "Please speak up," almost to redirect the blame towards the reporters. But I think she was just trying to. Settle things down a bit and let him know that he was okay to go. I mean, he should go home, for that matter. But he did stick around and ask or answer some more questions. I mean, there are many questions to be asked at this point. The first time it happened, he was taken to the back of the stage, so to speak, for just a bit. And he came back, and again, he answered some more questions. This time, he wasn't even taken to the back of the stage. He just stayed in the spotlight there. And I'll show you a continuation of that clip here in a moment. But first, a few of these comments from Larry Dean Jones Jr. Someone called an ambulance this time. The poor man is having a stroke. They keep them past their prime and don't care about their health. It is time to retire and seek medical help, please. I agree. And I don't know about the call to the police, or, you know, whatever type of call it was, which brought the ambulance around, apparently. I don't know anything about that, but I know this much. If you're on such a stage, under such a spotlight, and you are not right, well, if you can't get right, you better get gone before you are gone permanently. Colin Rugg adds, "We definitely deserve better. This man is the definition of the swamp." Okay. I won't necessarily disagree with that either. Quite a swamp monster he is. What condition is he suffering from? Someone asks. And Colin Rugg responds, age. In a questioning fashion. Age? The only people who are working when they are 80 years old is power-hungry politicians. I mean, I don't know too many 80-year-olds who are working. Especially when you have to make public appearances like this. I mean, you're just setting yourself up for failure. But nowadays, we're voting them in this way. Just think of John Fetterman. I do have a bit of a list in front of me. People I think, in my humble opinion, should resign. But I might save that for a few minutes down the rhetorical road. For the original poster of this clip, Hannah Thomas, who is a reporter, or a producer, in fact, of WLWT, and you can see that logo here on the screen. So, yes, the source. Breaking news, Senator Mitch McConnell appearing to have another scary episode in the media gaggle in Covington today. Aides have to step in to help him out and repeat questions. He was eventually led away. We'll have the full video on WLWT. I might check that out later when I have the time. You've already seen the clip. No need to play that again. I'll play this, though. Here's more of what we saw at the Northern Kentucky Chamber of Commerce Governmental Forum. Hoping Senator McConnell is able to take some time to rest. Yeah, like a lot of time. As should Dianne Feinstein. Oh, wait, she is resting a lot. But she should resign while she's at it.
Senator Daniel Cameron, do you have a comment on Daniel Cameron?
Well, I think his administration is going to be very close. Far and away the best candidate we could have nominated. And
Oh, man. The struggle session is real.
that state has become increasingly Republican, back to government, the only Democrat left, frankly. So I'm optimistic that Daniel will be our next governor.
Okay, I think we can do one more.
Senator, what is your reaction on Trump's latest indictment? Would you support him as a nominee?
Oh, fun. Asking him about Trump's indictment. So he can't hear. He can't speak. I can barely hear what he's saying. She's his personal interpreter at this point, basically holding his hand and walking him through it.
It's a question about Trump.
Yeah, I'm not going to comment about the presidential race, either on the Republican side or the Democrat side.
Okay, thank you all.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you. Sorry, thank you.
Can barely walk away. Sorry for the buffering. You know, he could fall again at any moment. And whose fault would that be? His handlers? His own? A little both? Is he a puppet or are they his puppets? At this point, I just don't know. I just don't know. Just in, a statement from Senator McConnell's team. Leader McConnell felt momentarily lightheaded and paused during his press conference today. Okay, that is not normal. Michael Malice adds, in all fairness, if you're an elderly tortoise with polio, you're not exactly going to be quick on your feet. Okay, people are getting into the jokes. And I'm not trying to poke too much fun at him. Keeping it lighthearted rather than lightheaded. But I'm just saying, we need some kind of standard of care if we actually care. And if they actually care, rather than simply being power hungry, then they should act the part. I mean, they should be good at that. They've been acting so long as it is. U.S. Senate Republican leader Mitch McConnell made a stop in northern Kentucky Wednesday, where during a media gaggle he appeared to have some trouble understanding and speaking with reporters. McConnell was in northern Kentucky from the Northern Kentucky Chamber of Commerce Governmental Forum in Kenton County. I used to live in Kentucky. The Senate Republican leader spoke at the podium for about 20 minutes, touching on topics like the Brent Spence Bridge project and what it would take to avoid a government shutdown this fall. So what you saw in the clips was not the entirety of the presser. You can go to that particular network and see the rest of that, I suppose. Afterwards, he walked down a few steps from the podium and caught himself as if he were about to fall as he approached chair. McConnell's team arranged for a brief media gaggle where he adjusted his glasses and said, okay, before he was asked for his view of running for another term 3 years from now. McConnell, I'm sorry I had a hard time hearing you. That's okay. What are your thoughts on running for re-election in 2026? McConnell, what are my thoughts about what? Reporter, running for re-election in 2026. McConnell, oh, okay. McConnell then took a long pause before one of his aides stepped in and asked, did you hear the question, Senator? Running for election in 2026? To which McConnell responded, yeah, before taking another long pause. His aide then addressed the media gaggle, saying, all right, I'm sorry, you all, we're going to need a minute. About 15 seconds later, another aide stepped in and asked if McConnell wanted to continue, to which he indicated he did. He took 2 more questions, which had to be repeated by one of his aides before walking away with the staff at his side. According to a McConnell spokesman, McConnell felt momentarily lightheaded and paused during his press conference today. That's putting it lightly. No pun intended. We're told by an aide that while he feels fine, as a prudential measure, he will be consulting a physician prior to his next event. Yes, okay. And now be transparent about the doctor's notes. President Joe Biden took a moment during his Wednesday press conference to talk about Senator Mitch McConnell after he appeared to freeze up during a media presser in northern Kentucky. Yeah, I was listening to that as well. Solid statement by Joe Biden, I must say. Even KJP, Karine Jean-Pierre, had something to say about it when she was asked during her press briefing about it. She didn't know about it at the time. It was news to her, but she wished the senator well. So that is swell. When asked about McConnell, Biden said, "By the way, I just heard literally coming out, and Mitch is a friend. As you know, we had disagreements politically, but he's a good friend, so I'm going to try to get in touch with him later this afternoon. I don't know enough to know." Okay. Last month, the Republican Senate leader was speaking at his weekly GOP leadership news conference on Capitol Hill when he stopped mid-sentence and went silent for several seconds. You can find that clip on my Articulate Thinker News Clips channel. People near him eventually intervened to ask if he was okay and then stepped away. He stepped away from the podium. He did eventually return. McConnell was asked by CNN what happened and if it was related to his fall earlier this year. He answered, "No, I'm fine," and moved on to other reporters. The McConnell aide said he felt lightheaded. Already read that. He came back to handle Q&A, which, as everyone observed, was sharp. Sharp? Sharp for someone who is so dull. Yeah, sure. If you say so. Okay, so he says it doesn't have anything to do with his fall. But if you can't provide an alternative explanation, why should we believe you? What bothers me the most is the lack of transparency. Like, people, especially at that age, are going to have issues. But when they get up and demand the spotlight, only to freeze up and then act like there are no questions whatsoever to be asked. Like, nothing to see here. The privilege, the elitism in that leads me to believe nothing other than that, well, these people are indeed power hungry. People such as Mitch McConnell, Dianne Feinstein, whatever you want to call her, John Fetterman, who was voted in on terrible terms and conditions because nobody liked Dr. Oz, I guess. I don't either. But to vote for John Fetterman, or as he sometimes refers to himself as John Fetterwoman, yeah, not looking good. So if you think that Joe Biden can't possibly win re-election, think again. If John Fetterman can win, Joe Biden can too. Not saying it's going to happen definitively, but it's a possibility, to say the least. Joe Biden even. What about him? Should he resign? Could he pass a cognitive capability test? I mean, I just uploaded an edit yesterday on my YouTube channel and elsewhere. In fact, you can see it here on my Facebook page, titled President Joe Biden's Age in a Nutshell. Wise or washed up? Time to resign? That's a question. Because there are so many clips of him not freezing up, but just losing it. Or getting lost. Literally. On stage or wherever. And then there are the clips of him stating that he has taken cognitive tests many a times, only for him to turn around not too long after and claim that he's never been tested, and that it's insulting for anyone to ask if he's been tested. And he says that it's understandable if people ask questions about his age, and then he says, "Watch me." I have no idea why people are asking questions. I kid you not. Those are his stances. They are all over the place. It's more of a dance than anything. So yeah, we need some kind of standard. Article from Reuters. I don't know if I have time for this. U.S. Senate's McConnell freezes up for second time in public appearance. I think we've already covered the basics, so I'm gonna move on. I know I pulled up this New York Times article earlier as well, but I'm gonna have to I'm going to have to skip it. Let me check the time. Yeah, I need to go. But I did have this pulled up. How old is the 118th Congress? This is an article from fiscalnote.com, published February 6th. So some of these Congress people have had birthdays since. But it has their ages listed. It has averages listed as well in the House and the Senate. The Senate, as you can see in the red line here, is slightly older overall. In the 60 to 69 age category, in the 70 to 79 age category, woo! Look at that. Look at that difference. And then 80 plus, a little more evened out. But Senate is still in the lead. As for the actual oldest members of Congress, okay, so we have Chuck Grassley, 89 years old. He is a little bit more quick on his feet. I believe he still jogs sometimes. At least he did last year. He was still jogging. I'm not sure about now, but he's doing okay, which is why I say it needs to be more about cognitive than your age. It needs to be more about the mental than the physical even. I'm not just sticking up for Republicans either, since obviously I'm criticizing Mitch McConnell here. But yes, Dianne Feinstein, never can say her name the same twice in a row, age 89 as well. And here's an article about her, which I never did cover, but this was from 4 weeks ago. Senator Dianne Feinstein's daughter has power of attorney over her. Okay, so, yes, daughter has power of attorney over her. Catherine Feinstein, a former San Francisco judge, filed a lawsuit on her mom's behalf last month. It's unclear to what extent her daughter holds power of attorney, but she doesn't have much power over herself at this point, though she has power over her constituents, doesn't she? I can't remember how much time she has left. But yeah, I think we need, if not term limits, something. And you can let me know in the comments below what you think that should be. Bernie Sanders, 81 years old. Mitch McConnell, 80 years old. And by the way, like I said, birthdays taken into consideration, I believe that Dianne Feinstein is 90 now, if I'm not mistaken. And Mitch McConnell is actually 81 now, so there's that. Ben Cardin, 79. Jim Rich, 79. Dick Durbin, 78. So on and so forth. That is a lot of past their prime politicians. So what should be done about it exactly? By the way, that was just in the Senate. If I jump over here to the House of Representatives, up at the top of the list, Grace Napolitano, 86 years old. Eleanor Norton, 85 years old. Harold Rogers, 85 years old. Bill Pascrell Jr., 85 years old. Maxine Waters, 84 years old. And so on and so forth. Yes, Steny Hoyer, 83. James Clyburn, 82. Nancy Pelosi, 82. But yes, this is from February of this year, so a few updates in there, a few birthdays in there. Okay. I gotta wrap this up, get the show on the road. But yes, thanks for watching, thanks for listening. Keep in touch, keep in tune. New content is coming soon. Be happy to hear any of your thoughts, or at least read any of your thoughts. Peace. Speaking of freezing up, my OBS software is freezing. Freezing cold. Let me try to stop it again.